Alrighty, good evening. We're back on with Babylon Radio. This is Ryan. I'm gonna go ahead and present myself on my stage name. I'm gonna be going by Asta Milk. It's just part of my spiritual journey and my spiritual searching, and the name I gave myself through the identity of Rastafari. As this evening, I want to apologize. Been kind of down with a cold, and I've been just trying to gather my thoughts and gather my vision, and gather my brainstorm. I want to welcome back on the School of Rastafari any followers on my YouTube, Facebook, or my blog, The Philosopher's Stone, .blogspot.com. Now, these series of podcasts are going to be just a beginning of documenting and allowing my voice to be heard. As we go on into learning what Rastafari really entailed to be gifted unto the African American people, is a lost story, and it is a mystery of what has never been told. What I want to recognize is that my vision is something that will grow over time, and my documentation is something that will grow over time. I want people to realize that Rastafari is something that is a beautiful teaching. It's a beautiful faith, and a beautiful way of accepting life, and identifying yourself as being someone spiritual in this world that is made of spirituality. Tonight I'm going to discuss some things I've put forth on my School of Rastafari Facebook page. I'm going to scroll down and then kind of pick up where I left off on my last post of Babylon Radio, which I engaged in speaking about conspiracy on George W. Bush. So on my platform, on my page of School of Rastafari, I'm learning how to go ahead and document some history and then go back forth and speak upon it. What I want people to realize is that learning the way of documenting history is something that is can only be done in a manner of archive. So I'm archiving as I go into try to outline something I can bring into discussion and lecture. For that's as far as I can take it right now. But I'm going to touch on a few things, and I want to speak tonight mainly on Terence Mckenna. And Terence Mckenna is someone that actually professed the magic of the mushroom. What people are going to learn is that Rastafari is the evolution to what is known as Judaic truth. Judaic truth is a history lost behind spirituality and religions that have forsaken themselves into creating a faith that believes in something that stands against another faith and something else, or in a biased vision on an ideology, for say. What we're going to do is speak upon what Terence McKenna philosophized as the message of the mushroom. What Terence did was actually proclaim that the two greatest active ingredients in psilocybin mushrooms were not just the psilocybin itself, but the fungi that actually allowed for the chemical reaction. What we're going to learn is Terence McKenna was actually deep into scientists, deep into looking at scientry and identifying himself as not only a biochemist, but demanding truth speaker. Now that makes no sense, but you're going to learn why Terence McKenna had these studies and these endeavors. But we're going to learn on later. Furthermore, his story. But his belief in the message of the mushroom was that Jesus Christ had historical truth. But Terence McKenna knew that the mushroom was something that had been around for what he believed to be dawn of early civilization. I'm not sure if he would take it back to Mayan or if he would bring it forward into ancient Egyptian civilization. I think he just believed the mushroom had been around and consumed for many ages. Now, what he professed was that Jesus Christ had a tie to the mushroom. I never remember him proclaiming him thinking that Jesus Christ himself tripped on mushrooms, but he believed that the mysticism behind the story of Jesus Christ could be something searched upon by tripping on magical mushrooms. And he believed that the mushroom held the truth to the story. And it's something that will be taught and will be gifted through the belief of the hippie and the belief of what Terence McKenna brought forward in his truth speaking. What we're going to do is learn that Rastafari is something that people are going to learn that takes a path that stands in a political vision. You have to understand that Rastafari is not a political party. It's a faith. It is a faith. It's a spiritual faith. And what we have to do is to build a spiritual faith that isn't looked as a religion is something that is going to have to be evolved as respected, as this way of life never intended to write doctrine. But as I'm going to do so, instead of creating what someone would think Rastafari religion, I'm going to create a Rastafari philosophy. And this is something that is going to be carried forth in the future of history, I believe, to take forth other inspiration upon other philosophies, and the great minds that stood behind these philosophies, and how culture really drives these philosophies in the end, in religions and spiritual backgrounds and cultural rituals and such forth. As I go on, I want people to realize my conspiracy on World War III is a stance on what we're going to talk to as Operation Shalom Unto the Way. So this is a speaking of to my country, and to what I believe is jeopardized in Oval Office as inside jobs constantly. I want to allow for that my freedom of speech is recognized and permitted in accordance to law under my First Amendment in our United States Constitution. And that fourth, that I can speak upon the speculation of a rising world war on the flaunting of nuclear warfare technology, and that I want to give spiritual direction and spiritual insight to allow people to recognize that there is no war, but there is a vision out there that professors were not afraid to go to war, and when that vision is out there, a stance can be made to say, let's just create a different vision. This is to speak against what would be the absolute rule of NATO, and what would achieve to be a constant inside job of country to country to state of country alliance, mole inside game of politicians of great power representing different countries. So it's great to dream, and it's great to write a government vision as forth as even all government vision would recognize that the greatest way to march on to the future is to allow for the great philosopher to enlighten the minds. Back to Terence Mckenna. Terence Mckenna was a man that actually professed that tripping on magic mushrooms would actually take you to what would be believed as evil in Christian eyes. He believed that delegating into hippie community and engaging into hippie activism actually was a way of working the system in a manner of playing a hippie as a government agent, and that is the case to such extent. But what Terence was speaking forth on is that there was conspiracy behind people who were into tripping on psychedelic drugs that actually became part of the FBI and CIA, and became part of the government inside of federal martial law and such forth. But what's intriguing is that Terence Mckenna did not present himself in later on in life, but did he not speak to what he professed, that psychedelic drugs were the power behind movements to the people, and that is what is going to carry forth into an acceptance that Rastafari recognizes. I'm not here to press that anyone go take 25 hits of LSD, of pure acid, and I'm not here to put in minds that going in and experimenting with drugs that haven't been even studied enough to consume on a regular basis or any basis, to be precise. But with that said, it's everyone's right and everyone's choice to engage and experiment how you want to, and I give advice through awareness, just to say, know what you get yourself into, and that's the best advice I can give. And with that said, I profess I'm an independent researcher for this reason of the activist passion of awareness. And that goes to drug awareness, it goes to societal awareness, it goes to I didn't want to hear that on the news awareness, and it goes on to I want some better coffee in the morning awareness. But that's beside the point, and we're going to learn that better things will come than the rants and the rambles and the politics. There's always politics, but there's always something better than politics. You know what I'm saying, man? Check. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually put forth a new vision on the school of Rastafari. Now, as I give videos, there's not a lot of discussion going on. I'm going to go ahead and make aware that it is going to take time for people to be brought towards my work and to understand my work. But to give a path to Terence Mckenna, I want to speak that the consumption of what he believed to be the holy mana is a philosophy of spiritual. It starts as a scientific theory on what would be biology, study of environment. And he believed that the magic mushroom actually was the mana spoken upon in the Bible. I'm going to bring forth a new message and speak that there's a different substance that I believe that was the mana in the Bible. But back to Terence' belief in what he saw in what was the mushroom. He's going to learn that the magic mushroom was enlightenment to bring forth conscious awakening, and he endeavored himself and such forth. What we're going to learn is Rastafari is an acceptance to drug awareness and drug enlightenment. Do we promote drug use? We don't promote drug use. We advise drug use, and we make aware of drug use. And as people are more than welcome to share their stories, I would love to hear more spiritual drug encounters and what forth down the road. But for this evening, I'm going to go ahead and cut myself a little short. I'm going to go ahead and give myself a little break, and then we're going to go ahead and finish this lecture. For this evening, we're going into the message of the holy mushroom. Alrighty, so I'm back on speaking on. We're talking about Terence Mckenna. Terence McKenna once proclaimed that tripping on LSD would actually take you to another dimension of reality that would speak upon exuberating what would be the imagination of puzzle. He believed that depicting mystery and depicting figuring the puzzle to life was tripping on LSD. His belief in the magic mushroom was that Jesus Christ had a mystic spiritual faith that actually revolved around what Terence believed to be the mushroom, and he believed that Jesus Christ had consumed what would be manna, and believed that he actually engaged in psychedelic drugs. But people didn't really recognize that Jesus Christ ever did any psychedelic substances. But there's a message behind tripping in what Terence found in his experiences with the mushroom. And he believed that Jesus Christ actually wrote spirituality, and part of the inspiration behind the Bible was the psilocybin mushroom. As I go forward, I'm going to take us into a section I call Breaking the Book. This goes back into what 9/11 and George W. Bush is being targeted for. It is a matter that Christianity has been used, and Christianity has been sold fraudulently upon corporation, and the goodwill is behind the congregation, but the abuse and the power over Christianity is something that's going to have to be paid forward in the manner of politicians paving a path to truth and enlightenment in a new way of thinking, what I'm going to call as a Rastafari philosophy. But as far as 9/11, I want to go ahead and speak that George W. Bush is going to proclaim that genocide is not on his hands. But I'm going to proclaim that it's a cover of genocide actually happening, and a cover story of a terror attack that never added up and never made complete sense to the people of the United States of America. And as I break the book this evening, I'm going to go speak and proclaim the mastermind of what George W. Uses as the art of beating around the bush. If I were to sit down and speak to one of my colleagues, I would invite them out to Starbucks and actually have a bodyguard is sitting in my Cadillac about the closest paid parking lot around. And I would invite my colleague for some coffee, probably about late morning, and I would ask my colleague if she had gone to school, and she actually told me that she had gone to school back east, and actually went to a small private school in New York. And she said her studies were for aspiring to be a news journalist, and I looked back and I said, if you were to write news, who would you write for? And she said, well, that's why I want to be a journalist. I actually want to cover for Times Magazine. And I said, well, Times Magazine is about as most recognizable, most recognized as any news outlet. And she affirmed and said, well, my inspiration is behind a man named Stephen King. And I said, well, why is that? And she says, well, I'm a true believer in what I call to be myself a Scientologist, and I said, well, I've heard Tom Cruise being a Scientologist. He said, no, it's not even about that. Scientology is something that is actually undeniable in its study. And I said, why is that? She says, well, anything can be proven. And I said, yeah, to a certain extent, but she came forward and said, if any man went to work and was to take it to science, they'd be a fool not to call them a Scientologist at the end of the day. If they were to proclaim any other faith or religion or spirituality, they wouldn't be a true scientist. They'd be a man deceiving their work at hand. And this colleague actually spoke and said, my love for news journalism isn't to be in the field, but is to be at the desk piecing the puzzle. And the same message that kind of goes back to what I was speaking to about Terence McKenna. What I'm going to do is I'm going to allow for this podcast to actually find a more acceptable time limit. I've been doing an hour. I'm going to go for about a half hour. I'm going to go ahead and get into my section I call treating the mic. If you were to be a businessman and were to take a new girlfriend out to the ballpark, and you went ahead and bought her a hot dog and a Coke, and told her that the Padres fucking sucked, but I kind of just wanted to bring you out here because you were you kind of knock out the you knocked the whole stand out of the wall. Yeah, that might have been a slip. And she caught it, and she kind of smiled it off, and nonetheless, I said, well, you get the point. And she said, yeah, and the Padres do suck, but that's why I'm wearing, I wear a Padres hat because, and then, I got a wink. The point is, this girl I was talking to actually had a connection into what was golf resorts. Her family was into investment of resorts, and she told me that if I were to take her to a resort, that it would be on her because she had all the connections. Nonetheless, the philosophy of this woman was, if you can make it to a resort, the only other game to play is to go watch it and say, you don't know how I got back to the resort, but that was the game. We'll get back with Babylon Radio. This is Ryan, as Rastafari, back to my page, School Rastafari. We're on our way.